How's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Thank you guys all so much for chiming in for the latest post-game show here in WardyNYM. I apologize for the sigh to start the show, but like all of you that are watching live especially, I am beyond bothered by tonight's loss as the Mets drop their series, their first 2 games of a homestand in this 7-game stretch back home after 10 games out west. I understand the jet lag. I can understand a little slow. No less, it's hard to find proper excuses when you drop 4 straight games for the first time since Buck Showalter first became manager of this club. We're going all the way back to 2021, folks. And then you have this team come out, drop 4, their final 2 in that 4-game set in San Fran. Okay, bothered by it, but again, isn't the end of the world, nor is this the end of the world. The sky is not falling. However, dropping 4 straight and losing a series, your first series of the year, to the Washington effing Nationals. Give them credit. Josiah Gray pitched really strong yesterday. Mackenzie Gore, I was really nervous about heading into the start because the Mets, against any competent, young, and upcoming starter that is a left-handed pitcher, is normally going to shove against this team, and that was on full display. So not a lot of positivity in tonight's show. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant because I'm really bothered by this series loss. Again, not the end of the world. The sky's not falling by any stretch. However, there are clear flaws with this Mets team that are once again getting exposed, and when you're facing the Nationals for a limited amount of time this season and not taking advantage of that, in my opinion, is a problem. You don't have the same amount of divisional games as you had last year. And now by the Mets dropping their first 2 and potentially even dropping 3 if they get swept tomorrow. Not that I wish it, I hope that doesn't happen. But not taking advantage of playing a lesser club like this when these divisional games are of the utmost importance, more than what they were in recent years, you could argue, because you don't play as many as you did in recent years. This definitely grinds my gears. This definitely bothers me. So we're going to be breaking down everything that transpired in this beyond unfortunate, beyond frustrating Mets loss, series loss. Now they drop this game 4-1 is your final score. Everyone in the live chat, thank you all so much for being in here. For people on replay, the same applies. Make sure to let me know your raw takes in the comments below, as always. But guys, more than anything, if you're watching live, spam those L's in the chat, spam those thumbs down, whatever you want to do. I'm really pissed off by this, and I can't hold it back. I'm beyond frustrated. The only positive to come out of tonight is that one New York team stepped up and won in 5 games. That is the New York Knicks. So shout out to the Knicks. Shout out to all you Knicks fans out there. Headed to the second round, baby. Let's get it. We'll see if it's going to be Miami or the Bucks. And if you're a Nets fan, I feel sorry for you. And if you're a fan of any other basketball team, then, just ignore what I'm saying here. But shout out to the Knicks, baby. They did good. That is one positive I can take away tonight, even though I'm beyond frustrated by this series loss. But again, a lot of takeaway from this. This isn't just from the Mets offense being a no-show again for back-to-back nights that we've seen. Look, Mets starting pitching hasn't been stellar. Jose Buto wasn't sharp yesterday. Senga continued with his walk rate up. However, the Mets starters the past 2 days aren't the sole reason as to why the Mets lost these ball games. What we saw out west was a little bit of being spoiled by this offense because the Mets got little to no consistent starting pitching all throughout the West Coast trip as they continue to deal with their ailments and are starting guys that are normally their 8, 9, or even 10 starters to begin the 2023 season. However, the offense was able to combat that lack of consistent starting pitching out west. And now as we enter this series, we're not getting that offense that has stepped up so much over the past previous 10 games, now over the last 2, if not the last 4 rather. And it's beyond frustrating when you look at this team. Look, let's call it how it is. This offense does not look sharp. And I think what bothered me a little bit even more than the lack of offense absolutely being putrid with runners of scoring position is how anemic this defense has looked. This Mets infield defense looked absolutely stellar to begin the year, and now the past 2 games at home, again, I understand you're getting adjusted back in the East Coast. I understand that there are factors to a degree. However, the defensive errors, the miscues, we've never seen them before. Even yesterday when Elise Gourmet moved Ron on a double play ball that ultimately led to 2 more runs scoring. Like, how does that happen? Eduardo Escobar letting a ball go right through the wickets today. Thankfully he hit that triple and kind of made up for it because that was eventually a run scored. However, it's just like we've seen so many defensive hiccups. This team just looks slow. They look sloppy as all hell this entire series. And that's my biggest takeaway from this. There are no positives right now. The offense is not doing what you want them to do, right? I mean, even when you had Beatty and Alvarez in the lap yesterday, Beatty had a double. That was nice. That was the only positive offensively. Alvarez had an infield single. That was it. Then today, I mean, Beatty and Alvarez weren't starting. And again, that really wouldn't matter too much. Eddie, again, had a solid day at the plate. Not going to complain about Eduardo much there. However, The guys that are supposed to produce, that when they do produce, this team is rolling. When they're not, there's an issue. Pete Alonso's done nothing this series that we've seen thus far. Not going to rag on him much at all because, again, the team shouldn't go through Alonso for all their offense, but they do, and that's an issue. Lindor is not swinging the bat well at all. I'm really not liking his plate approach right now. Having a longer swing that I like. He's chasing too many pitches. He needs to get locked in. He's off to a slow start this year, albeit those flashes of brilliance that we saw on the West Coast trip. Aside from that, though, Lindor want to see him get sharper. I know he will, but it's frustrating because when both those guys aren't on, you can kiss any offense pretty much goodbye. There just is little to no consistency on that level. So, guys, let's break down this ball game because I got plenty more to say on this, but I have such a headache. I had a headache going into this game. I had a nice dinner. It was my buddy's birthday tonight. Head home, and as I head home, that is right when Marte drives in the first run of the game for the Mets tonight, but after that, nothing else happens. Nothing. This offense, the amount of times that they had opportunities where runners in scoring position, let's just go through it right now. Then we'll get into breaking down innings 1 through 9 because that only means so much. I just do that as a recap for you guys that care, but I know a lot of you guys probably don't care because the Mets just lost an anemic ball game, an anemic series it's been for them to this point. But as we look through the Mets box score, let's do it together, folks. You and I both. All right, as we look through here, Mets were runners in scoring position. We're 1 for 8 tonight. And yesterday, let's go back to yesterday as well. Yesterday, the Mets were runners in scoring position when they were shut out 5-0. Mets were 1 for 3 because they were not able to put the ball in play at all. I mean, the Mets only had 4 hits tonight. Just not what you want from this team. Less than ideal. GD, thank you so much for donation. He says, if Alonso and Lindor don't match, we don't win. Not a Wayne formula. This is Buck's fault. Not managing properly so far this season. Lineup order isn't good. Also let new guys up. Team is uninspired. I mean, the Mets have let new guys up. We can't say that they haven't been starting to give Beatty and Alvarez opportunities because they have. They're not supposed to be saving graces every night, nor should they be. Buck with the lineup, I'm not criticizing as much right now as I am just the lack of consistency you're seeing with this team. When Lindor and Alonso aren't going, you're not having guys to piggyback off of them. You're not having guys to drive in those runs. And that was an issue that we had heading into the season. And now, once again, we're facing it full-fledged once again. So let's break down this ball game now before I go on further. Again, appreciate everyone being in here. I don't know what discourse is going on in the live chat. If I know people are upset. I know people are acting up. Whatever you're saying, that's fine. Just keep it civil. That's all I ask. People on replay in the comments below, the same applies to you. We do have some great partners on the channel that I'll be getting to soon, but I hate that. I hate when I talk about them as well on nights like this when the Mets just throw up an absolute stinker. I'm not raging here. I'm not as mad as what I was during the Brewers sweep. However, this is easily the worst series the Mets have had since that matchup in Milwaukee against the Brewer Crew. Just like lifeless baseball. It wasn't like you had a defensive masterclass that we've seen in recent weeks on the infield defense and outfield at times too. There was just no positives. If you can find consistent positives for me, please let me know. And the only reason why we're not doing callers tonight, guys, is because one, I have little to no interest to just further rant about this team right now, especially here in April. And two, I have an early work call tomorrow. That's very important. So I need to make sure I get my shut-eye tonight. So if the Mets perform well tomorrow, then I will definitely leave that opportunity, that door open to do callers. At least if they show some life tomorrow, even if it is a loss, even if they do get swept. Callers not happening tonight. There's a far greater likelihood tomorrow. Just remind me in the chat, and I will hopefully make that happen for you all. But let's talk about this ball game now. Okay, so again, the first 4-game L streak that we've seen since Buck Showalter first became manager. You tie that in with poor infield defense, too many walks by Kodai Senga. But again, Senga is not the sole reason why this Mets team lost today. He kept the Mets in this ball game. He got out of some jams. He's still grinding things out. He's still struggling young in his MLB career now with his control, but that was his MO when the Mets signed him. So I'm not shocked by that, and I know that he will continue to get better and show improvements tonight. Again, not the sharpest outing, but certainly wasn't the detriment to the club losing. When you only score 1 run on 4 hits, you deserve to lose, rightfully so. But now let's get into it. In the first inning, guys, call with a walk in Garcia with the fielder's choice. That's all she wrote there. Nothing else transpires on that front. And the second, then we get Ruiz with a walk, Dom with a double, Dom Smith that being, yes, you heard that correctly. Lane Thomas with an RBI single. There's your first run of the game. Abrams with an RBI single. Back-to-back RBI singles. Just like that, the Nats get off to an early 2-0 lead. Get some barreled baseballs off of the pitches from Kodai Senga. Thankfully, Senga lessens the blow by stranding the bases loaded soon after to keep it a 2-0 ball game as we head to the bottom of the second. And in the bottom of the second with 2 outs, Jeff McNeil with a single. McNeil looked very sharp at the plate tonight. He was not the issue. Basically, the rest of this entire offense was, to put it lightly. And the third, then, because the Mets, of course, don't produce there in the second. Manassas with a single. That's all she wrote. In the bottom of the third, we see Eduardo Escobar with a triple. Starling Marte with an RBI single. Finally, the Mets get their run on the board. Again, the Mets have now went 16 consecutive innings. If I'm not, or is it 16 games? I'm pretty sure the Mets have went 16 games where they have not scored now in the first inning this season, which is not ideal, not what you want, and that needs to change as well, going back to us first starting this conversation. Now, in the bottom of the fourth, as it's a 2-1 ball game, top of the fourth, rather, Thomas with a walk and Abrams with a single. That's all she wrote. Senga gets out of that. Then we see in the fourth, bottom of the fourth, with 2 outs, McNeil with an opposite field single, and that's all she wrote, because, again, the Mets just cannot get consistent offense going here. McNeil's getting on base with 2 outs back-to-back times in his last 2 at-bats, and the Mets can't do anything with it. Again, this is not a recipe for success right now. This is a recipe for failure, and the Mets certainly did their best job at failing this entire National Series and trying to now avoid a sweep against the Washington Nationals tomorrow with Joey Lucchesi on the mound. Again, I'm not trying to slight the Nats too much here. They put the ball in play a lot. You have to give them credit. They're one of the best teams in baseball right now at doing that. They don't strike out much. However, they don't walk too much. Is that what it is? I'm not too sure. What I do know, though, is that their starters the past 24 hours have been sharp. They deserve credit, but regardless of that credit, the Mets should still be producing more. Josiah Gray isn't an ace. He is not a Cy Young, nor is Mackenzie Gore, but of course, especially with Gore, as soon as that trade, sorry to get on tangent right now, but I need to do it. As soon as that trade happened, when Juan Soto was dealt last summer, I knew for damn sure that once Mackenzie Gore got back from his injury that he was dealing with, he was going to come and shove and be a pain in the ass for the Mets for years to come. He is a really sharp, young, upcoming lefty that showed strides of brilliance to begin the 2022 season with San Diego before dealing with ailment to have him out for the majority of the remainder of the year. So Gore is going to be a pain in the Mets side for a long time if they cannot figure out how to hit against a competent, if not superior, southpaw. This has been an issue for them for years, and it's not changing, and that in itself needs to change, okay? It frustrates me as all hell that it hasn't yet. Gore casually comes out tonight and gets 10 strikeouts on the Mets. Josiah Gray has a season high yesterday against the Mets, too. Just swinging and missing. The Mets weren't even putting the ball in play at all the past 24 hours against this Nationals team. And the Mets had a 146 expected batting average tonight. The Nationals had a 185, and you still couldn't win this ball game. But that's how bad this offense has looked right now. No less, we see the Mets don't score there in the fourth. In the fifth, with 1 out, Eduardo Escobar with an error, again, right through the legs that leads to a runner on. Thankfully, it wouldn't hurt him, and the Mets would get out of that inning unscathed. And Kodai Senga's final line today, guys, of 5 innings, a 5-hit ball, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, has a 4 ERA on the year on 94 pitches. Against Senga, the command has continued to be an issue, but he's a bulldog. He's able to get out of those jams and certainly kept the Mets in this ball game. Casually with 7 strikeouts, too, because we love the ghost fork. Senga was not the issue tonight. This offense and this anemic defense right now certainly was. As we advance further now in the bottom of the fifth, Eduardo would get on base right away. It's funny how he has that error surrendered, right, that you see in the top of the fifth. Then the bottom of the fifth, he gets on base via an error. That was an infield error on CJ Abrams. Nimmo would have walked. The Mets can't drive in with having 2 on, no out, because of course they can. And the sixth, Jeff Brigham comes in, who's continued to look sharp for the Mets here, at least here in the 6th inning. Alonso misses an easy pop-up. This is what I mean about this infield defense. An easy pop-up that he just lets drop. Then he chucks it a second, and it should be an out, but it's not properly handled there by Lindor. I don't know who is at more fault, either Lindor or the throw by Alonso, but that lets Dom Smith get all the way to second base off of what should have been an easy infield pop-up. Just a lazy play there by Alonso that could not get the proper catch. That was frustrating. And then Robles would have walked in a stolen base, but thankfully, Brigham is able to get out of that jam with the strikeout to end the inning. In the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs, you guessed it, Jeff McNeil gets on base again with the walk, but of course the Mets can't drive him in. And the 7th then, Jeff Brigham, after 5 scoreless innings to start his Mets tenure in the 2023 season, surrenders his first earned run, which was a bomb to Candelario to right to increase the Nationals' lead. This time, what was it? 3-1 or 4-1? I think it was 3-1 at this point. It was the 7th. Yeah. Then the bottom of the, then the bottom of the 7th, Beatty would have pinch hit walk because he gets on base as he's coming in for Eddie for, late game replacement. Vogelback with the walk again. Mets 2 on, no out. What do? They don't score. Then in the 8th, Adam Ottavino comes in and he surrenders one earned run there, and that just tacks on the Nationals lead. It's 4-1, and at that point, it felt like the nail was in the coffin. This team, you just knew that they weren't going to come back tonight. They have just looked lifeless since getting back home. And I think as much as this Nationals series is bothering me, it really is more salt in the wound that they've now dropped 4 straight. We just saw the Braves lose 4 straight over this past week, but the Braves, at least it was more justified. 3 of those 4 losses were to the Houston effing Astros, kind of the reigning champs and all. I expect the Astros to do well against the Braves, right? And now the Braves, of course, are going on their run. I'm mentioning the Braves because they were a team that just had a 4-game losing streak for the first time in basically 2 years. And now, of course, the Mets have a 4-game losing streak for the first time since the 2021 season. So like a year and a half at minimum. It's frustrating. So the Mets end up losing by a final score of 4-1 here. Here's how we look at the pitching stats here for a second, guys. Again, Senga wasn't the sharpest, but certainly wasn't the reason why the Mets lost tonight. And I hate how the filter on my camera is making me look. I know I'm mighty white, but my goodness, I look like a ghost right now. Brigham, again, gave up his first earned run. It didn't matter. It really didn't matter. Brooks really got the final out there in the 7th. Ottavino gave up that 1 earned run. It still didn't matter because the Mets couldn't produce any offense. Robertson there with the scoreless inning. But it's the offense. Look, Tommy Pham just putrid today. Tommy Pham had 3 strikeouts today, folks. And back-to-back strikeouts were inning-ending strikeouts when he had runners in scoring position, if I'm not mistaken, and they were both hanging curves right down the dick that he just decided not to swing at. Tommy, not a good day at the plate. The Mets continue to have lackluster production on a day-to-day basis in that DH spot, which is not ideal. It's not what you want. Mark Canha did not look good at all today either. He had no clue how to pick up Mackenzie Gore in that fastball, especially up and away. Was not working with Canha at all. Alonso Lindor had lifeless at-bats that we've seen a lot lately, which is unfortunate. Marte, again, didn't love him today. 2 strikeouts, but at least he drove in the 1 run. Nimmo getting on base, which is great, but even when Brandon Nimmo isn't hitting, that's when you know this team isn't looking good, when Brandon Nimmo has been playing at an elite level throughout the first month of the season. Then, of course, we see Alvarez. I wasn't expecting Alvarez to get hit. He struck out looking on a terrible call by the ump to end the game. It was way too inside, but the end of the game, what are you going to do? It is what it is now. Beatty, of course, came in for Escobar, who had that triple on the day. That's the offensive highlight. Aside from Marte driving him in, Beatty went 0 for 1. But that's all you need to know. My head's pounding right now. I hate covering games like this. I hate covering series like this when there's just no positives. There are no shows. And I understand it's April 26th at the time of us talking right now, but these games matter. All these games matter. And to add insult to injury, these games matter even more when you're playing a divisional rival, when you have divisional rivalry matchups lesser than what you had in previous years, given the schedule change where you're basically playing at least every team once this year, right? So this matchup versus the Nats was vitally important. And it's going to be even more important as the Mets now match up against the Atlanta Braves for the first time, a 4-game set this weekend. That'll likely be a doubleheader at least once this weekend because the weather's not looking sharp, especially on Saturday. So, good chance that we'll see at least one doubleheader this weekend when we get to it. But, rivalry matchups are important. Divisional matchups are important. They're vital right now. I'm never going to sit here and just say, it's April, it doesn't mean anything. You lose 4 straight for the first time since 2021, it's going to rattle me. It's going to bother me. When you lose 4 straight because you drop 2 to San Fran, that has been so strikeout heavy, not a good start to the year, even though they've taken care of the business against the Cardinals in their latest series. Give them props for that. Not only that, but it's the Nationals. Young, promising, starring pitching aside, this is the Nationals. They're going to be the worst team in this division. Take advantage, and this team did nothing of that. I don't care that you just got back from a 10-game West Coast trip. You had an off day the following day. I can understand if you're a little bit flat for that first game yesterday. That I understood to a degree. However, there's no excuse. It's Mackenzie Gore, a young, promising southpaw. I get it. He shoved tonight. You should still score on that bullpen at absolute minimum, and you have nothing to provide. So that is exactly why I'm ranting here. That's why exactly I'm coming off the way I am. I know the sky's not falling, and I really hope the Mets get a win tomorrow and get on a positive note before their most important series of the year thus far against, of course, the Atlanta Braves. That's going to be heated. It's going to be animated. I can't wait to cover that series, regardless of wins or losses. It's always a fun and hectic time covering those matchups. But I got to ask everyone right now, when you look at the Mets dropping 4 straight, what is your confidence level heading into tomorrow's game? Let me know in the live chat right now on a scale of 1 to 10, what is everybody's confidence level? And as you are doing that, we're going to talk about the Mets and how they're not just frustrating me as a fan, but they're frustrating me as well by having, of course, Lindor and Alonso on my So Rare squad. And that is one of our two partners on the show tonight. As many of you guys know, So Rare MLB is the best fantasy baseball app, or you can do it on normal website on your computer out there. It is free to play. You don't have to spend a dime. You draft your own team. You can trade, sell, and buy cards for real dollars, and you can even get some really expensive cards that you're selling or buying for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Unique cards that are so cool. You enter weekly tournaments, you build your team, and how your team does in these tournaments is indicative on how these players do in real life. And yes, I hate Spencer Strider, but I had him on my team because I won him in a recent tournament, because depending on how you do in these tournaments, if you rank in a certain tier, you will win either free upgraded cards, you will win free tickets to your favorite team's game, you'll win free merchandise. And I won Strider a couple weeks ago, and thankfully I started him because he had almost a perfect game, and thankfully that was broken up in the 8th inning against Miami. 57 points. And I am not going to do as well in this tournament as I should after Andrew Chafin shoves for the D-backs. And you see Masataka Yoshida balling out again for a second straight series. The only reason why I'm not going to likely perform well is because Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor decided not to show up. And that's really frustrating. Again, I love this game regardless of having them as a partner. I have them, and I'm so grateful to be having them on because I would be playing the game regardless. So, guys, if you haven't already, I highly implore you to sign up to So Rare MLB using my link in the description down below. We've had a boatload of sign up. We've had hundreds of sign-ups already since we have started the promo on the channel. I thank you guys all so much in advance. It really does help out the channel. Again, I love this game, but I'm frustrated right now because I know that I should be doing better in this tournament if it wasn't for Lindor and Alonso no showing. Shane McClanahan is expected to start tomorrow, I'm pretty sure, too. So, I mean, I'm not even mad about Ketel Marte getting 2 points. I'll be mad if Lindor and Alonso do nothing. So there's further, incentive for me to want to see this team perform well, and that is for my So Rare MLB team to do well. So shout out to So Rare MLB for being a great partner on the channel as always. Make sure to check them out, guys. And like I said, you can enter weekly tournaments and you can buy and sell cards. And these unique cards are so dope because they're unique to you. They're like unique NFTs, no different than card collecting. And you see here, like, some of these cards go for pretty pennies if you win them in, rare, super rare cards, especially if we get to, I want to show you guys a rare or super rare, especially. Hold on one second. I want to see if any of them pop up. Like, this is a Brad Keller that's already bidding at $5, but this super rare of Adam Simber, yes, every Blue Jays fan's favorite player, Adam Simber, already at $51 in the actual dollars because of just how rare that card is. So again, make sure to check them out, guys, and shout out So Rare MLB once more for being a great supporter, great partner here on WardyNYM. But let me get back to this chat right now. Dave, a great member on the channel, says, bring up Perez. He can't be worse than Nito. Yes, he can, and Perez isn't even on the active 40-man roster, so the Mets will not be calling him up. Why do I hate Strider? Oh, just naturally with the rivalry with the Braves. It's not like necessarily a personal thing as much, but Strider with his comments last year about the Mets being lucky when they lit his tits up there in the summer when the Mets won 3 out of 4 in that series, including a doubleheader when Jake was pitching too. Yeah, that bothered me about Strider, with his little porn stash and all. So yeah, I don't like Strider. Electric stuff. He's a great athlete. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not a personal fan of him. I'm not a fan of most Atlanta Braves. If there's any Atlanta Brave that I genuinely enjoy, it was Freddie Freeman, and now he's with the Dodgers. Because how can you, as much as Freddie Freeman's a Mets killer, how can you dislike Freddie? I mean, he's so awesome, so good for the game. Acuna as well. I just hate that Acuna's a Brave. It's kind of as simple as that. We losing 9 straight? No, we're not. That's just nonsense. I mean, come on. Cancel the season? No, we don't do canceling here. Other shows do that. Sprite says, yep, Alonso and Lindor brought down my score in the tournament. Exactly. And that's the bummer when you're being a homer, when you're making your picks for your So Rare MLB team. I can hit just as well, if not better than Nito. I believe you can, Dave. I believe you can. Obviously, I'm only semi-joking. Here, John, great member of the channel. Shout out all my live members here. Steven as well. Mark, all you guys really does me a lot. I didn't see the game. I guess I didn't miss much. No, you did not. And guys, I had opportunities, should I have not been busy with other stuff, to attend the past 2 games. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because look at what we're seeing. Again, it's, of course, the Mets go 7-3 out west, but they dropped their last 2 out west. They head home, have a day off, and now you're seeing how they're performing against the Washington Nationals. Like, what are we doing here? Like, wake the fuck up. I'm sorry. Just please, can we start to wake up? Because if not, then, like it's so annoying. These losses really piss me off, guys. You should know they piss you off. And I commend everyone out of the 250 to 300 live viewers that have been watching this live or on replay for chiming in. Greatly appreciate you guys. Tomorrow night's game, Joey Fuego, please. I hate that I have to be reliant on Joey Fuego, but I kind of have to. But more than anything, even if Joey doesn't shove, which I doubt he'll go the same way that he did against San Fran, I just need this offense to wake up and this infield defense to just not act like, they have their balls in their hand. Like, seriously, like, terrible infield defense past 2 days. Terrible. And it's crazy because this team has been known for phenomenal infield defense that we've been spoiled with throughout the year. So in part, that's kind of why it's bothering me more. But I mean, just lackadaisical errors, just stuff that should not be happening. We've seen on full display multiple times the past 24 hours. And that in itself needs to change. And guys, like, I have such a pounding headache. And especially on a night like this where I'm getting a little juiced up, it's a little difficult for me to get some shut-eye, especially when I have an early morning meeting tomorrow work-wise I'm excited about, but still early morning. So, late night to early morning. But if there's any way that I can get myself some strong sleep, it is by, of course, checking out my friends at MantoSleep. MantoSleep is our second partner tonight. For those that don't know, MantoSleep is quite easily one of the best sleep masks out there on the market. And I've never been a sleep mask advocate until they came in my possession a couple weeks ago. And I sleep with it on a nightly basis. I sleep like a baby. This is a Sleep Mask Pro that I highly implore you guys to check out. Make sure to check out the link in my description for MantoSleep for 10% off your order. And to look at them a little bit further, guys, for those that don't know what MantoSleep is, they're just a revolutionary sleep mask website. They have so many great offers for you right now. They have the sound mask that I've been raving about that I want to try really bad. It has Bluetooth. So again, you can roll around in these bad boys. They're super comfortable with ease, but they have a Bluetooth one if you want to listen to, some whales at night, whatever you want. Some ocean waves, some woods, some birds chirping, whatever you want, you're going to get there. You got the sleep mask, the silk mask, and the other one that I'm really excited to get is not only the Manta Steam Mask, which is sick because it helps steam around your eyes and it helps with your pores and everything. It helps give you that comfortable skin, but it's the cool mask for me. Guys, I am like a sauna every single night when I'm trying to go to bed. Now you're telling me I could have a sleep mask that literally helps bring coolant around my eyes for a cold, comfortable face when I'm going to bed. Sign me the hell up. And then we, of course, have a weighted mask too. So they got a plethora of options. Make sure to check them out. Again, MantoSleep for all your sleep mask needs. I know a lot of you guys have already purchased some, and thank you so much for that. They're a great partner on the channel. Will be for a good portion of the time here on the channel. And again, shout out to MantoSleep for 10% off because I'm going to need this bad boy tonight after what I just witnessed. That was nothing short of a shit show there at Citi Field against the Washington Nationals. So guys, I'm going to get out of here. I need to hit the hay. I got an early day tomorrow. This game sucked. This series has sucked. Wake up tomorrow. Please, Joey Fuego. Give us 5 solid innings. That's all I ask. And offense, just wake up. Do something. Lindor, actually start to take quality at bats. Get your head out of your ass. That goes for everybody. I love them all. I know they'll bounce back. I know they're going to be fine. But these 4-game stretches are inexcusable. And I would be lying if I said it didn't bother me at least slightly that the Mets took no advantage, of course, of the Braves going on that 4-game losing skid. The Mets just did nothing with it. So, Mets, get your head out of your butt. Please, I know you will, but do it now. Get on a positive note before that Braves series, so that way we can feel a little bit more comfortable heading into that matchup. But guys, thank you all so much for watching, live or on replay. This is Wardy signing out. Appreciate you guys chiming in as always, making sure to drop those comments in the live chat and in the description down below. I want to make sure I addressed all donations. I may have missed one. David, thank you so much for the dono, and then I'll get out of here. This team is disgusting, to be honest. I don't think they are better than last year. We have way too many fans saying it's only April. Got to get out fast. Trust me, this team will look very different as we go through the ebbs and flows throughout the year. But yeah, I mean, you can make the arguments that it's not better than last year, but we'll find out. Plenty of baseball, still got just under 140 games left. You got pre and post trade deadline, what happens there. But yeah, there's rightful criticisms right now, and I don't blame anyone for being frustrated with how the team looks after what was a roaring, beautiful West Coaster for the most part. Needs to wake up, and I need to now go to sleep. Have a great night, folks. And as always, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.